Hi and welcome to Create Love Arts. My name is Sharon, and today we are going to learn how to make the basket weave stitch. The basket weave stitch is really awesome for borders on blankets and around. Just building it up for a blanket looks really nice, especially in the round for some reason. However, you can do it flat, and that's how I'm going to teach it. The biggest thing you need to know about basket weave is it is a repeat pattern, but it flips at one point. So you can either do 2 rows of one way and then 2 rows of the other, and I'll show you how to do that, or you can go up to 4 or more. It's entirely your preference. I am using a 5-weight bulky yarn today because I find that it should be a lot easier to see, and I'm also using a 6.5 millimeter hook because, again, with bulky yarn, that's really what it's required to use. There are 2 different kinds of hooks. One is a tapered, which is what I have, and there's also something called an inline hook that looks like this, where it's a little pointier and it lines right up with the post of your crochet hook. These I find are much easier for doing front post and back post stitches like we will be doing today. However, I don't have this hook in the size I need for this yarn. So I'm going to use the tapered, but if you have a way to use the inline, go ahead. They'll both work. I do find the inline to be a bit easier for this kind of stitch, but that's preference again. So this stitch requires that you do a multiple of 8 plus 4. So whatever you want to make, you're just going to chain 8 until you get to the width that you want. So multiples of 8. I'm only going to do 2. I'm going to do 8 twice. I'm going to do 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And then I add 4. That'll be my turning chain. 1, 2, 3, 4. So anytime you see a multiple of a number plus another number, the second number in that equation is your turning chain, typically. Okay? So I like to work on the back bump. The first row is simple. You're just going to double crochet into the 4th chain from your hook. So I'm going to count back 1, 2, 3, and then in the 4th chain, I'm going to make a double crochet. Oh, potentially. We'll see how this works out for me. All right, there's my double. Now look what happened. That turning chain flipped up. It's become its own stitch. That does count as a stitch in this pattern. The pattern is bordered on each side by a double crochet. So at the beginning and the end of each row, you should have 1 double crochet, and that is your double crochet border. It does not stop it from waving, though, and getting all wavy. A real border around is, in my opinion, required to keep this stitch in line. It likes to play little wavy games, so fair warning. And the rest of the stitches, you're just going to double crochet all the way down your row, whatever your number was. Okay, so just double all the way down in each of those back bumps, and then check your count. Your count should be your multiple of 8 all the way. All right. So at the end of this, I should have, I think, 16 total. In theory, we'll see how that works out for me. I try not to get too cocky with these things because I've been wrong more than I have not. And you can't beat yourself up for it. Well, you can, but it does you no good. So, when you make a mistake, that's the best part about crochet. You can pull it right back out and fix it and move along. It's a good patience tester. And some of us, including myself, do not always have patience for stuff. But I always have found that the harder you work for something, the more you appreciate it later. So nothing in this world not everything is always going to be easy. The best things that are hard can be worth it sometimes. All right, so I'm coming up to the end, rambling along while I'm rambling along. And I have 2 stitches left. I'm going to go ahead and double crochet into both of those stitches. Yarn over, poke your whole hook through. Make sure you go in that last slip stitch there. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 more. And I always tighten that up at the end there. So now I have 1 row of double crochets, and that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. I'm wrong. I have 18 because of the 2 border stitches. All right. So now we're going to turn our work and chain 3. That is going to count as that border double crochet there. That is going to count. So we don't use this stitch because that one counts. Okay. So to make a front post double crochet, it's very simple, but your stitch anatomy comes into play. You're not going to go into this part of the stitch up here like you normally would. You normally would count that and do that. With front post stitches, whether it be single crochet, half double, or double, you can do it in any one of those, even triple. You're going to take your yarn and over your hook for a double crochet. Then you're going to go in from the front of your work and poke your hook through there and push that stitch right out of your way and come around the other side of it. And then you're going to yarn over and pull it around. Yarn over, pull through 2, and make that double crochet 2 more. That is a front post stitch. You see how it gives it the texture of a raised stitch. It's a very raised stitch. And then you're going to do it a total of 4 times, all right, in the front post. So 1, and then I go in through the front and pop that stitch right out of my way, yarn over and pull through it around, and then make my double. That's 2. And there's 3 and 4. All right, so the first half of this part of the pattern is for front post double crochets. That's them. That's what they look like. And on the back, you're going to see what happens here is it becomes what we're going to now learn, a back post. So this is a 2-sided pattern, which is really cool. You can, flip it around. It'll work either way. And now you're going to do for back post. So just like we went into the front of this stitch, we're not going in the front. We're going to come behind it and push it out of our way. See how I've just taken that whole stitch and pushed it around? Then you're going to yarn over and pull through. This is where it gets a little tricky. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. So what you did was you made a back post here, and when you flip it over, it's a front post. See? Front post, back post. You're going to do 4 of these. So yarn over, bring your hook behind. I like to turn it sometimes so I can see what I'm doing, and push that stitch out of your way. Yarn over and pull through, and then make your stitch. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. It is a lot of turning and twisting. So yarn over, grab this stitch from behind, pull through, and make your double. I will say this thick yarn is really nice for showing this. It's a little easier than the thinner yarn that I'm used to working with. So I yarn over, go in through the back, and pop that stitch right out of my way, and pull through. And make my 2. Well, I've made 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 front posts and 4 back posts now. That's the repeat all the way across your row. You're going to do 4 fronts, 4 backs, 4 fronts, 4 backs until you reach the very end, and then you're going to do a double crochet in that last stitch. I'm going to let you finish out your row, and I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so I'm at the end of my row. I have 1 back post left to do and then a double crochet. So I'm just going to yarn over and come in through the back of that stitch and push it out of my way. Pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then my turning chain, well, my last stitch, my last double crochet is going to go, I can see that this is the stitch here. There's a hole there. I'm going to go right into the stitch right next to it. It's the 3rd of my chain that I turned, and make a double crochet right in that chain. Okay. So now that's your first 2 rows complete. You can either continue on 2 rows doing it this way, or you can continue on with the pattern right here. It depends on the look you're going for. In the original sample picture that I have posted at the beginning of this video, and also on my Facebook page, Create Love Arts, you will see that I have done this 4 times. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4 of the same way. And then I turned it and did the other 4 the other way. The reason you do that is because it actually creates the basket weave. So here you can see that we've got the back post and the front post, and you can see that it's created a dip and a bump. And that's what it's going to look like until you border it and flatten it out, okay? But it is a textured stitch. At this point, I'm just going to go ahead and do the second half of the pattern so this doesn't get too lengthy. I'm going to turn my work and chain 3 just like before. 1, 2, 3. But now, when you're doing it the other way, you're going to just keep going with front post, back post. The second half of this pattern is to flip that. So instead of doing a front post here, I'm going to come in through the back post and do 4 back posts and 4 front posts. That's it. I mean, it's very simple. It just can get a little bit confusing. Your hands aren't sure which way to go sometimes. So you do have to pay attention when you're doing this particular stitch pattern, because it can get, confusing. But one good thing to remember is when you're on the turn, when you're doing it in the opposite, you're going to put the opposite stitch on the opposite thing. When you're doing it, okay, that didn't make sense. Hold on. When you are doing it the first time, the first few rows that you're doing, you're going to front post over the front post and back post over the back posts. When you do this change, when you go to change it, you're going to back post over the front post and front post over the back post, just to do the switch. And then the next row, you'll do the original way of front post on front post, back on back. And that's why it can get a little confusing. Can you go up just doing the original first part of this pattern all the way? Yeah, you can. You can. But the point of the pattern is the basket weave, and that's what this creates. So it's up to you. So right now, all I'm doing is I'm going down, I'm back post over the front post and front post over the back post, 4 times each. Make sure that you're not, and this is where it can get tricky, make sure you're not missing any. So I could easily just accidentally skip this one and come right in on here and do these. It's real easy to make a mistake with this. So just pay attention to what you're doing and you'll be just fine. You got to keep track of this guy. But it's worth it. At the end, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous stitch. And it is well worth attempting to try. Basket weave is a pattern you're going to see in all the yarn arts that I'm aware of. You can do it in Tunisian, you can do it in knit and in crochet. So there you have it. I'm at the end of my row and I'm on my last turn. So I'm going to double crochet into that last stitch to finish my row. And now what you can see that the pattern is forming. When I turn my work, I'm going to chain 3, 2, 3. Now instead of going into the front, because I'm building on the pattern I just switched over. I built this pattern up. Now I'm going to build this one up. I'm going to do the back post on back post and front post on front post. If I can get through there, there we go. See, they can get a little tricky when you turn. But once you get going, you're good. And you can move it out of your way. Push things around. Give it a shove. So one time you can assault something and not get in trouble for it. All right. Now I've got 4 more front posts to do here. And I'm just building on it. Now you could do 4 rows like this and then switch it around and do 4 rows of this the other way, or vice versa. It's up to you. I've only done 2 and you can still see the pattern forming. I've done 2 of each and you can still see it. So up to you. But I just want to get us to the end here so that you can see the actual full-on pattern. And then I'm going to end this video. If you need any help with these, please feel free to leave a comment. I would appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe. That really helps me out and keeps my videos up higher in the list so that others can enjoy and get some tips and tricks too. And I also have a Facebook page that you're super welcome. I fully invite you to come and follow along and check out what I've got going there. All right, I'm at the end of this row. I've got 1, 2, 3 stitches. I'm going to go into that top stitch and make my last double. And I'm going to end it right here so that you can see. It does get wavy. It gets curly. The thinner the yarn, the curlier it gets. But when you border it, it will be fine. And so there's our basket weave stitch. You can see that there's the raised, the lowered, the lowered, the lowered. That's a basket weave. That's all there is to it. I hope you have a fantastic day and that you come back here next time and see what else we've got brewing in our stitch library. And for now, I'm going to end this. Again, if you need help, please feel free to message me on Facebook or to comment below. Thank you and have a great day.